Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack, and it's finally time to talk about Season 13, or should I say roast Season 13, because boy, you looking like Go-Goat from Pokemon. God, that was the worst intro. I would restart that intro, but honestly, that's how I'm feeling about Season 13, and I'm here to be transparent with you. Now, that's not to say that if you enjoyed Season 13, and if you climbed in Season 13, got GM, or heck, even got Silver, it doesn't matter, then good for you. I am so glad, because I'm not here to be biased. I'm not here to make a video saying, oh, Season 13 sucks, you need to hate it too, here's all the problems, because no, but there were some apparent problems that really, like, okay, I don't want to say it wasn't the game's fault, because people will point the finger at Brigitte and be like, well, she was the problem. That's the whole point of this video that I want to make, was to review Season 13, the good, the bad, and the ugly, and I ain't talking about me. Unfortunately, but during Season 13, there were three important time periods that helped define what Season 13 was all about. And the first point that I want to talk about is going to be the meta, because this is the beginning of Season 13, and that was the GOAT composition. Now, some people might think I'm going to be hating on GOAT, saying, oh, this was the worst composition, this was just cheese, it's just straight up. No, I'm not going to be hating on GOATs, because one, I already made a video kind of complaining about GOATs, but the thing about GOATs that I actually like is that it showed people that if you work together, if you actually bonded, and if you were a well-oiled machine and you fed off of each other like a team, then you were going to win the game. That's what GOATs is all about, because the tanks can't live without the Mora can't live without the tanks, Brigitte can live, because we'll talk about Brigitte in a second, Lucio has to speed boost these tanks along with more. Everyone was feeding off of each other, because that is the team composition, that's what it's all about. But it just takes one idiot, one jabroni, to switch onto Genji, to switch onto Bastion, switch onto Soldier, something that obviously isn't GOATs, to ruin the whole dynamic, because just one switch off of a tank or a healer and it all crumbles apart. So that was the worst part about GOATs, and the worst part about Season 13 is that GOATs was the best composition. It's been proven time and time again to work and win you games, and it's so demanding. It is such a demanding composition, and that lasted for, I would say, a good solid month, I would say, because that led up to the second turning point of Season 13, which was the introduction of Ashe into competitive. Now, while Ashe didn't completely crumble GOATs, GOATs was still running rampant at this time. She was still just a brand new hero. Anytime you add a brand new hero, someone is going to be playing it in competitive, because they think they're the greatest Ashe of all time, myself included. When she first got introduced, I played her right away, because I had confidence in myself. Don't take that as cockiness, okay? I like to think I'm pretty decent with hit scan, with Soldier, McCree, and Ashe. And I've proven myself, okay? We're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about Ashe. I went on a little tangent there to feed my ego. But the main reason why I bring up Ashe is because, well, like I said before, it's a new hero, but GOATs is still running rampant. It's still the best composition that you should run at all times. And now you have a new hero that got introduced in competitive that is totally the opposite of GOATs. So now you have people that are wanting to play the new hero, simply wanting to play what they want, but they also want to win without having to play the composition that has been proven to win. Oh, man. One thing I'll say about Ashe is that she's good, okay? I hate people saying in the comments that she is a terrible hero, all because they probably suck with Ashe and they don't know how to play her. No, she is well, at least she was better than McCree. She is way better than half the DPS heroes in the roster, but it's just the fact that she got overshadowed by 3 tanks and 3 healers that, you know, you just simply can't. So that was, again, another big issue with Season 13, is that people want to play what they want to play, but they can't, because they also want to win. And if they don't play the composition that has been proven to win, the enemy team's going to play it, they're going to roll you, everyone's going to get mad at each other, you get salty, you lose the game, you go in the next game, and it's the same thing. Over. Which leads us into the third turning point of Season 13, the nerfs. And also one specific buff that is going to kind of help define Season 14. But not to get ahead of myself, first let's talk about 2 major nerfs, Doomfist and Brigitte. So a lot of people think the Brigitte nerf is the worst thing ever. That, oh my god, she's the worst hero of all time, she sucks, she is the worst healer. No, she's a better healer, a worse DPS. So did that completely crumble GOATs? I wouldn't say necessarily. It helped a tiny bit, because you didn't have that extra DPS healer with Brigitte. You just had an extra healer at that point, because the shield bash is now less, but you still get more sustainability. You guys know me whenever it comes to people calling Brigitte OP. I'm not going to deny the fact that she's definitely powerful, but I don't think she's the most OP hero in the game when compared to Moira. I honestly thought Moira was the backbone of GOATs, and the whole reason why it was successful, because you can't run GOATs with the Mercy, you can barely run it with an Ana, but just the fact that you're able to heal all these big hefty tanks multiple times because you're just able to spray your heal spray all over them and be a decent DPS with Moira is a hidden issue with Season 13 that I don't think people are really realizing. You know, they just hop on the bandwagon and hate on Brigitte, but Moira's the main backbone in my opinion. But in that same nerf boat, while Moira didn't receive a nerf, Doomfist did, a well-needed nerf because of the way that he was built. Some might say that Doomfist was a broken part of Season 13 because the way that it worked was that you would seismic slam on a squishy, say a Zenyatta, a Lucio, Soldier, Hanzo, whatever the case may be, pop some of your knuckles in there, get the kill because you caused so much damage, and because you caused so much damage, you would have like 300 HP, and you would be able to get out of there with your Doomfist, and no one would be able to stop you. Because the thing that makes a broken hero broken is that there's not an answer for that broken hero. At least with Brigitte, there were some, in my opinion. You can run a Pharah, you can simply shoot the shield, you can run a Junkrat, but with Doomfist, there was only really two heroes, actually. One was McCree, and the other one was Brigitte. But the thing with McCree is that if a Doomfist timed out his flashbang, then there would be no way to stop the Doomfist at that point. So Blizzard saw that and realized, wow, there's no answers for Doomfist, we really do gotta nerf him, and he definitely got way more nerfed compared to other heroes in the past, to the point where, yeah, he's not as powerful, but he's also not that useful because, well, the whole point of him is that he would stop squishies and instantly kill him once they got him in the sky. But now you're able to move in the sky. And on top of that, there's probably a new DPS king in town that's probably going to be taking over Season 14 because of the buff that he got in that same buff/nerf boat to his secondary fire. They increased his Fan the Hammer ability from 40 damage to 50 damage per bullet. That means he can kill the Doomfist, so there is an answer for Doomfist, but they might have buffed him a little bit too much because now he can wipe out a majority, pretty much all of the DPS heroes, and even some tanks if they're low enough. Season 14 is going to be the season where people complain about McCree. I guarantee you, because stun and Fan the Hammer is so powerful, and now you just get wiped every single time you're within 2 feet within McCree. But that's future us to worry about, because we have to look back at Season 13 and just give a sigh of relief and just look back and be like, man, we really had to deal with GOATs. And again, GOATs is good because of the teamwork dynamic, but it's just the fact that it requires 6 people, where the Bastion meta required a Bastion, Reinhardt, Mercy, 3 people. That's all that it really required for you to win the game. This required 6, and that was the biggest issue with Season 13 in my opinion, was that this composition is so demanding. But even though Season 13 could be seen as an awful competitive season, all because of people not willing to work with the composition that's been proven time and time again to work, one good thing about Season 13 that I'll say is that compared to previous seasons, more or less the early seasons, Season 4, Season 5, Season 6, more heroes are being welcomed. I already made a video talking about this, but heroes like Doomfist are welcome. Heroes like Hanzo and Junkrat are welcome. Heck, even heroes like Sombra and Torbjorn are welcome. You used to get flamed if you played Torbjorn on defense, even though, you know, it wasn't the worst pick, but it's just the fact that it's Torbjorn. Now, if you pick Torbjorn, people like the idea. It's like, yeah, let's do it. If you're on Rialto, if you're on Hanamura, people love the idea of Torbjorn being played. So look at it from the bigger picture. Yes, Season 13, it's a smudge. It's awful. It's ugh. But if you look at the bigger painting, it is beautiful. It's a Bob Ross painting. Okay, we won't go too far, okay? Well, let's step it back. It's like my 3rd grade painting that I made for my mother for Christmas. It's not the greatest, but we can at least appreciate the efforts. Over time, more heroes are being welcome, okay? Don't forget that. Now, I won't be arrogant and say that's completely perfect, because no, yes, Torbjorn still needs some work, but he's welcome now. Symmetra definitely needs some more work, but she's a little bit more welcome now than she was previously. May needs some work. People are rallying for a Mercy rework because compared to other main healers, she's not that great. And heck, even Bastion is seen as a little bit more meta, all because of the pirate ship, but he's welcomed. Again, remember back at the previous seasons, if you did play, remember all the times that you want to play a specific hero, it wouldn't be ideal because it wasn't a Genji. It wasn't a Tracer. It wasn't a McCree. And then, ironically, those heroes got pushed to the side because of Brigitte taking over Season 13. But now that she got nerfed, now those 3 heroes are being welcomed back. Maybe not so much McCree because I don't know, he's always been decent, but what I'm trying to say here is that I probably just listed 8 DPS that in the past probably wasn't welcomed, but now in Season 13, because of constant changes, because of us having to go through all these compositions and meta, now they're a little bit more welcomed if you are good with those heroes. But that's just my Season 13 review. It was bad, but it was also kind of good at the same time. That's kind of weird to describe it. But let me know what you think about Season 13. You can tell me your story, but I will be making my Season 13 story later on while I talk about just my experience. I really didn't want to talk about it in here because it's a review. It's not really my own story. I don't want to be biased here. So I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch videos to come, and bye.